Please rise in body or spirit as you're able as we sing our gathering hymn, number 122, Sound Over All Waters. Sound over all waters, reach out from all lands, the chorus of voices, the clasping of hands, rise above the ages, arise like the sun, all speech flow to music, all hearts beat as one. Sing bridal of nations with chorals of love. Sing out with our culture and sing in the dove. With glad jubilation, sing hope for the world. The great storm is ending, the clouds are all furled. Sound trumpets of triumph, war marches of peace, east, west, north, and south, let the long choral cease. Sing songs of great joy as the angels began. Give glory to children, to woman and man. Hark joining the chorus, the heavens resound. The old day is ending, a new day is crowned. Rise up for the ages, arise like the sun. All speech flow to music, all hearts beat as one.
Good morning. It is a beautiful day, isn't it? I love this kind of weather this time of year, and it's good to see people still coming in the room here. I first came here in 1993, in January of 1993, but somebody else got here before me by 6 months. Reverend Marilyn Sewell, our guest speaker today, and my dear friend, she got to Portland in, I guess, the fall of 1992. Is that right? Anyway, she got here 6 months before me, and she's always been a few steps ahead of me. She and I and other clergy would have lunch together once a month, and now that I'm going to be retired soon, she's retired now, we still do get together to have lunch and connect. And Marilyn has been an amazing minister serving at First Church in Portland for 17 years. She's written 22 books to my, never mind how many I've written. I was reading her latest book, The Revenge of the Whale, last night, and over the weekend she gave me a copy. A fascinating, really a wonderful writer, great insight into human nature, economy of words. She's been a great figure in our movement, so we're really honored to have her here today, and I'm honored to have all of you here today, too. So thank you all for showing up on this beautiful spring day. We're going to have a beautiful service. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Marilyn, for being here.
Morning. UUCS members and friends follow a diverse spiritual path. Yet, we pledge to support one another as we search for truth and meaning. Please join me in speaking out loud our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world.
By and by, Lord, by
It's our tradition here at UUCS to light 3 chalices when we begin our Sunday service. We light our first chalice for our members and friends, all who are gathered here and all who are joining us through the wonders of technology. And yeah, so we light our second chalice for our partner church in Szymanfalva, Transylvania, Romania. I'll fix that. And our final chalice is for the children and youth, both those who are back in our religious exploration program and children around the world. Please join me in singing The Flame into Life.
Morning. Hello, it's such a beautiful day. Thank you for coming and joining us today. Can everybody young or young at heart please join me up front? I have a great story today to share about Earth Day. Hi there, welcome. Come on up. We're going to have the story up on the screen as well for you today. And this is a true story. It comes to us by Jacqueline Briggs Martin, illustrations by Claudia McGee. It's called Creek Finding, and it's a true story about a river that was diverted decades ago. And I hope you enjoy it. The Creek Finding Machine. An excavator is a machine that chomps dirt. Excavators dig holes for basements, trenches for water pipes, paths for roads. Sometimes excavators help find lost creeks. How do they do that? How does a creek get lost? Especially a creek that started long ago, with a spring that burbled out of the ground and tumbled itself across a prairie valley. The creek wasn't just water. Insects whirred in and around the creek. Brook trout grew fat in the creek, lunching on insects. Frogs chirped by the creek, ready for their buggy share. Birds watched at the stream side, hungry for bugs, fish, or frogs. Well, the creek did not lose itself. A farmer used a bulldozer to stuff the creek with dirt so he would have more space to grow corn. No water bugs, no frogs, no birds, and no brook trout. The lost creek was quiet under the sun. Trout in a cornfield. Years later, a man named Mike, who's a real person, bought that field and in the hillside. Mike wanted to grow a prairie in the old cornfield to partner with the sun and soil, grow tall grasses and flowers. One day, as Mike was out working, a neighbor came by and said that long ago, he had caught a brook trout in that very spot. A brook trout in a cornfield? No way! Partnering with the creek. Mike knew there must have been a creek on that prairie. He wanted to find the creek, make a place for the brook trout, birds, bugs, and frogs. He said he would call it Brook Creek. Others laughed, said Mike's plan was foolishness. Lost is lost. But someone gave him an old photograph, and he marked the creek's path. Then he called his friends who owned big machines. Scraping and digging. For 5 days, a bulldozer scraped, an excavator bit into the ground, carved holes, dug curves and runs, tamped rocks for the creek bottom. The excavator had found the old stream. Would water fill the path? Mike said the water remembered. It seeped in from the sides, raced down the riffles and runs, burbled into holes, filled the creek. But a creek isn't just water. It's plants, rocks, bugs, fish, and birds. Mike and his friends tucked cordgrass and other green shoots into the creek banks. 3 summers grasses grew. When the creek bed needed more rocks, Mike had a problem. Heavy trucks crossing to the creek would press deep ruts into the ground, kill new prairie plants. How could he get more rocks to the creek? Mike waited until winter, when the ground was frozen hard, cement trucks lumbered across the prairie, emptied their rocks into the creek, and left no ruts. Rocks settled in, plants grew, insects flew in, whirred and buzzed, and laid eggs in the water and on the grasses. After 2 more years, small fish called sculpin swam into the creek. And that was good news. Sculpins survive only in clean, clear water, the same kind of water that brook trout needed. Time for trout. A pickup truck carried the tub that held the trout. Mike and his friends laughed in the morning air, lugged and dumped buckets of finger-sized fish. Perhaps Brook Creek laughed too, tickled by trout. Water was right. Food was right. Trout snapped up bugs and grew for 2 summers. In the second fall, the rocks proved perfect places for the fish to lay eggs. Winter came. Would the eggs survive? Snowstorm, ice storm, cold wind, fish squiggles. Then one late winter morning, fish squiggles no longer than a thumbnail. Squiggles grew into fat trout who laid eggs in turn to hatch more generations of trout at home in Brook Creek. Maybe a chuckle, maybe a thanks. If you went to the creek with Mike, you'd see the water. But a creek isn't just water. You'd see brook trout and sculpin. You'd hear the outdoor orchestra, herons, snipe, bluebirds, yellow-throat warblers, frogs returned home, and insects, thousands and thousands of insects. You'd hear the water ripple and burble, maybe a chuckle, maybe a thanks, to Mike and the big machines that found the creek. The end. Okay, this week we are learning about Earth Day, and our theme is the web of creation. So today the kids are making their own little bird houses. They get to build them and decorate them. And if you have anybody at home that would like to build one of these, we have extras, so just come pick one up for me back near the LRE wing. And we have the LRE luncheon coming up on April 28th. It's from 12 to 2 right after the service, and we hope everybody can join us. All right, if you can stand up in the middle and create the love arch, we'll be on our way. Thank you.
Great Spirit of life, Spirit of love, God of many names and of no name. Help us, for we know not what to do about the many, many heartbreaking events around this world. We don't know what to do for all those among us who are suffering. Help us to have compassion for those who are oppressed, who are sad, who are grieving, for those who are scared and hurting, compassion for those who are sick and in pain. Great Spirit, help us to practice kindness, to encourage others, and to be gentle with ourselves. Fill us with love for all life, so that we might bless this world and each other. Help us to be grateful for this awesome gift we call living. Amen, and blessed be.
Hello again, it's Joan, and I'm your Lifelines lay minister for today. And we have no new writings on our website, and we have one joy that was written today by Joan Stembridge. Welcome home, Janet Newberg. So glad your travels to Spain went so well and that you've returned to Salem. And we always light one candle for all of the joys and concerns in our hearts that are not written or spoken. And Lifelines is a group of people, fellow members of the church, who extend Reverend Rick's ministry to members and friends of our congregation who are experiencing loss, illness, or any type of personal or family crisis. If you have a wish to connect with us, please meet one of the Lifelines lay ministers after the service at the table, or you can connect through the office or the website behind me. Thank you.
Today's heart song will be sung together the first time and in a round form the second time. If you're not sure when to stop, just look over me, I'll cue you. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will run away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
I am the blossom pressed in a book, found again after 200 years. I am the maker, the lover, and the keeper. When the young girl who starves sits down to a table, she will sit beside me. I am the food on the prisoner's plate. I am water rushing to the wellhead, filling the pitcher until it spills. I am the patient gardener of the dry and weedy garden. I am the stone step, the latch, and the working hinge. I am the heart contracted by joy, the longest hair white before the rest. I am there in the basket of fruit presented to the widow. I am the musk rose opening unattended, the fern on the boggy summit. I am the one whose love overcomes you, already with you when you think to call my name.
Janet, thank you. The music director and the wonderful musicians, thank you. I was very touched by your music today. Thank you so much. And all of you who made this service happen today. I want to say a particular thanks to Rick Davis for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be in the pulpit today. This congregation has been so fortunate to have Rick, 31 years? Unheard of. You know, I was thinking about Rick, and I was thinking about what makes a great minister. And I was thinking the qualities are wisdom, compassion, humility, and spiritual depth. You know, Rick brings all these things to you. He is just one of the finest ministers in our movement, and I'm very pleased to call him friend and colleague. So, thank you. Now, the topic today is the meaning of life. Now, okay, I admit this is a ridiculous topic. Even so, in all of its enormity, it is a fundamental question that all of us face. From the warmth and protection of our mother's womb, against our will, we are thrust into this world. We're a tiny newborn, we cry, we protest, we enter this world trailing clouds of glory, as Wordsworth writes, but our divine source is soon forgotten as we struggle to survive. Who will protect us? Who will show us the way? And then there's the death thing. When we are young, we think that somehow we will escape death, that this is something that happens to everyone else, but we'll figure out how to get around it, we're sure. There's a story about the wife who says to her husband, "Dear, if one of us should die first, I think I'll go and live in Paris." Somehow it's always somebody else. I remember the first instance in which I understood that I too would die. I mean, when I really internalized that knowledge. I sauntered into the neighborhood post office one day, one beautiful spring day. The first buds of the cherry trees had broken into bloom. The clerk was young and handsome from somewhere, I don't know, like the Philippines or maybe Korea. He was full of the joy of living. Anyway, I asked, "What have you got for stamps today? I mean, besides flags and puppies." Beaming, he said, "We've got Humphrey Bogart. We've got Gertrude Stein." And he held them up for me to see. Sure enough, Bogart was there looking rakish as always, and Gertrude Stein scowling. That's when it hit me, the death thing. I mean, I had this sudden, almost uncontrollable urge to spit out the truth, to say to him, "Why are you smiling? Don't you understand? You're going to die. You don't know when. It could be any day at all. And all these pretty stamps and all your friends and your sweetheart, nothing like this will ever matter again. Nothing will ever matter." But I didn't say that. Nothing like death to ruin the spring day. So instead, I looked at him with so much love. "I don't know," I said. "I think I'll take the Bogart." Our contemporary culture keeps us safely in denial about our mortality. We are awash in distraction. Images, sounds flood our senses with visions of the good life. You know, places to go, things to buy, coupons. I got a coupon the other day for a free artichoke. Buy one, get one free. I was so excited. And then I went to the grocery store and I realized I don't even want an artichoke. And of course, we are distracted daily by the largest to-do list in the world, our email. Where is it all leading? We keep giving ourselves away. To what? In the film, All Is Lost, starring Robert Redford, Redford portrays a sailor caught at sea alone in a sinking boat. He is a man of good sense, physical strength, great resourcefulness. He does not talk. He considers, he decides, he acts, fully present in the moment. We see him patching the hole in his boat, riding his overturned life raft, learning how to navigate by sextant and sun. But like us, the man, and he's not named in the film, so I'll just call him the man. The man is vulnerable to forces beyond his understanding and control. He's injured. He runs out of water. He becomes totally exhausted. His raft bobs about helplessly, a dot on an endless sea. Now, the man does everything right. He repairs the hole in his damaged craft. He climbs the mast, and he restores power to his radio. He even figures out how to desalinate seawater. He sends up flares to attract passing cargo ships, and he yells out, "I'm here, I'm here." It is the plaintive cry of each human being in the universe. I exist. However, as Stephen Crane put it, the universe replies, that fact has not created in me a sense of obligation. The ships move on by, ignoring the man. When the end seems inescapable, the man stops his anxious striving. He writes a letter of regret and apology. He writes these words. He says, "I'm sorry. I know that means little at this point, but I am. I tried. I think you would all agree that I tried to be true, to be strong, to be kind, to love, to be right, but I wasn't." We do not know the man's specific failures and regrets. His letter is directed to no spouse or child or friend. He seems to be a decent man of strong character, a trustworthy man, but like all of us, he has his blunders and his betrayals. We do know that he wishes he had been more faithful to these unnamed others, and he wants them to know that he has done his best. He closes his letter with these words, "I fought to the end. I'm not sure what that's worth, but I know that I did." In a gesture of futility, he seals the letter in a jar, and he drops the jar into the vast and indifferent sea. He understands that the chances of anyone finding his letter are nil, but he must try to say goodbye. He must try to explain his life and his choices to those that he loves. The end of the film is both highly suggestive and yet inconclusive. As the man surrenders his life to the sea, he's not thrashing about like one who is drowning. He simply sinks slowly beneath the waves. Then he sees a light above him, and he swims eagerly toward it. A hand reaches down from the light, and the screen goes dark. Is the man literally being saved, as all the audience members are hoping? Or is he having a pathetic last fantasy that he will be rescued? Is he having a near-death experience, which has been described by many as a journey to the light? Or is he dying with the light guiding his way to the ultimate source of love? The viewer must decide. At the end of life, what has true significance? What we have achieved, whom we have conquered, fades in importance. What gives meaning to our days is precisely our man's fervent desire to be true, to be kind, to love. We know, all of us, that we have failed to some degree. We have missed the mark. But we want those we leave behind to know that we did our best. I think of Carl Sagan's remark, "For small creatures such as ourselves, the vastness is bearable only through love." For small creatures such as ourselves, the vastness is bearable only through love. So back to our initial question. There is no one answer to the meaning of life. There's only speculation and fantasy and inadequate philosophy. Ultimately, there's only mystery. And so perhaps we're asking the wrong question. Perhaps we need to be asking, what is the meaning of my life? We are given that task when we are born. Tag, you're it, really it. You're it, unique, one of a kind, plunked down here on this earth through no choice of your own. This is our human dilemma, our existential challenge. Some people turn to religion. In fact, increasing numbers of people are turning to fundamentalism or evangelical religions. They need sure answers, even when the answers are lacking in the milk of human kindness. I'm thinking about my brother Jim, who lost his best friend and his hunting partner Mark. The two of them were close for over 30 years, and then Mark dropped dead with an aneurysm. My brother was devastated by the death, but then he was also grieving deeply because he believed that Mark was not saved and therefore was going to hell. I tried to reassure him using his language system, his God language. I told him that I thought Mark was with God. My brother said he just didn't believe that everybody is in heaven. And he said, "Don't I believe in correction by God?" He asked. "Don't I believe in the devil?" And this is what I said. What is God's correction all about? It's not about doctrine. It's about the state of your heart and how you love. Do you really believe that a God of love would send anyone to a burning lake of fire for all of eternity? You love your friend Mark and would never want to hurt him. Is God less loving, less merciful than you? The mysteries of life are dishonored when they are turned into doctrine and dogma. Confronted with ultimate and unanswerable questions, we might best respond with awe and humility. We hear the voice of God speaking to Job. "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth, when the morning stars sang together? What do you know? Tell me." Let's revise the question again. Maybe the question is not, what is the meaning of life, but maybe it's, what does life want of me? What does life want of me? Your job, wrote poet William Stafford, is to find what the world is trying to be. What is our world trying to be right now? It is yearning to be just. It is crying to be in right relationship. The earth itself, this holy ground on which we have been planted, is suffering mightily. When you get quiet and allow yourself to touch into the heart of the world, where does your passion lead you? What compels you to act? As James Hillman would put it, what does your angel want of you? What does your angel want of you? A story about time and the constraints of time. The writer is Chris Huntington. He was a teacher in a prison. He tells the story of one of the prisoners, a man named Mike. During Chris's first week on the job, he had asked Mike to reset the wall clock. A few minutes off, Mike said, "We need one that goes by months and years. What do we care about 5 minutes?" Mike had been locked up for more than 16 years and had at least 8 more to go. He was arrested when he was a teenager, and although he had turned his life around, he still had to do his time. Mike told Chris, "I used to be angry. I'd pick fights over nothing, but then I realized, man, this is your life. Do I want to be that guy, always bad? I'm not going to get married or have a family. Not today, maybe never. I'm going to be here. I'm a prisoner. There are some things I'm never going to do. I could spend my life being mad about that, or I could try something else." Chris asked him what he had decided, and he said, "I decided to be the best prisoner I could be." At the time Chris took the prison job, he could relate to what Mike was saying. Chris felt that all his plans had come to nothing. He had failed at marriage, failed at work. He had no money to speak of. But time went on and Chris's life shifted. He fell in love again. His wife gave him an expensive watch, he says, which he kept wearing even after the crystal was scratched. Time again. Time moving on. "I'm constantly aware of lost opportunities," writes Chris. "I used to think lost opportunities are like beautiful towns flashing by train windows. But now I imagine they are lanterns from the past, casting light on what's ahead." He tells about tucking his son in bed one night. He asks the little boy, "What was the best part of your day?" his son puts his head on Chrissy's shoulder and says, "This is, Daddy, this is. Of course, be here now." Chris ends the piece by saying, "When the battery in that watch died, I still wore it. Scratched crystal, dead battery, doesn't matter. There was something about that watch that said, it doesn't matter what time it is. Think in months, in years. Someone loves you. Where are you going? There are some things you will never do. It doesn't matter. There's no rush. Be the best prisoner you can be." Here we are, a blip on the moment in the vast expanse of the unfolding universe. We are caught in mystery, lost in time. The one thing that we can depend on is that we cannot depend on anything. Everything in this world is unreliable and temporary. So what do we do with loss? And so many losses come, each reminding us of all those preceding. We do not add another dimension of suffering to our loss by saying to ourselves, things shouldn't be this way. We learn to go forward in love, knowing that all is precisely as it is in this moment, and all is impermanent. When we have had enough of the false escapes, enough of the trying to look good, enough of the self-righteousness that divides us from others and from the holy, we want transformation. And we come to our spiritual practice. We come to pray, or we come to contemplate, or we sit in meditation. And what do we discover? Same old stuff. Anxiety, anger, envy, more false escapes. And so we sit with all this human stuff and sit and sit and sit. We give up our shoulds. We stop trying to fix ourselves and stop judging and fixing others. We accept ourselves as we are in that moment. We accept reality as it is in that moment. And we ask only for that awareness and that acceptance. The mind quiets. We're breathing more deeply now, more air coming in. The story that we're not good enough, not worthy to be loved, that goes. The story that we can control any given outcome, we give that up. The story that our hunger will one day be met, that goes too. And yet, paradoxically, all is well. For this present moment, this moment of presence at least, we have broken the illusion that we are separate. We are one part of a sacred unity. Our existence is a mystery, incomprehensible and miraculous. You know, spring has come at last. Why don't we just notice the brilliance of the flowers? Note the trees with their unbounded variety of green. Really look into the face of your friend or your partner. Look at the world. Look at people as if you were looking for the first time. Look with beginner's mind. Know that you yourself are awe-inspiring, are part of the divinity that infuses all of creation. And you yourself are a good gift. Walk in gratitude. Live in love. So be it. Amen.
Take a minute to sit quietly. Maybe close your eyes. Put your feet on the floor. Just sort of sit back in your chair. These chairs aren't uncomfortable usually, so just take a really deep breath and let it out. Breathe in and out. Just let your life be. Relax. Be grateful and know that you are worthy and you are loved. Blessed be. Each week, an offering is taken in this congregation. That's not unique. That's done all over the world in all kinds of congregations. It's the financial support from you that enables UUCS to offer opportunities for worship, learning, community, and growth. And in this congregation, we share our blessings. This month, we are supporting the Minister's Discretionary Fund. Now, our congregation offers a lot of activities. However, it's really difficult to search for truth and meaning when your basic needs aren't being met. The Minister's Discretionary Fund allows the minister to offer financial assistance to members and friends who are experiencing tough times. We also support the Marion Polk Food Share through donations that can be placed in our little red wagon. Food and or cash or money are welcome. So donations can be made during the passing of the baskets or by using the QR code that is on your order of service that you got at the door, or through our website, uusalem.org. We thank you so very much for your generosity. Thank you, choir. So, Rick, could you help me with lighting? Each week, we light our social justice lantern from the flame of our chalice, and we do this to symbolize the way that you, the members of UUCS and friends, carry the light of our service here out into the community throughout the week. Now we're going to extinguish the chalices that we lit at the beginning of our service. That flame now resides in you, in each and every one of you. So please tend it well and share it with others until we are together again. Next week, my life flows on in endless song. Sounds like a song to me. But I will spare you my singing. So instead of a hymn, sermon, hymn sandwich, we'll be serving up a multi-layered offering that weaves music and words into one fabric. I'm fascinated. I gotta be here. So I look forward to y'all being here. After service today, you can meet with the board, and they often can answer questions that I hear people they'll come up to me because I happen to be standing here and ask me questions like, I have no idea. Go ask the board. So especially interim minister updates as we get closer and closer to Rick's abandonment of us. We're having more and more questions about that. I'm going to make one other announcement, and it has to do with Rick and Gordana. So, as many of you know, we are assembling a book of memories that will include submissions from as many of you as I can get submissions from. The deadline for that is the end of this month, and so if you have not yet sent your submission to me, please do so as soon as possible. And you can just catch me afterwards if you don't have the place to send it. So there's a lot of going on in our community, and you can probably keep up with it best if you receive our newsletter and our Friday update. So if you don't do that already, you can email the office at office@uusalem.org or give them a call, and you'll get on our list. Did I miss something? Oh, I did things out of order. That's what you're telling me. Okay. There's signals coming to me from the back of the room. Sorry.
On to our closing hymn. Please rise in body or spirit as you're able as we sing our closing hymn number 89, Come My Way, My Truth, My Life.
My
Let's see where we are now. 11 Sundays to go. So our quote for today is, "The quickest and surest path to happiness is to be deeply grateful for what you have." And I know that I am very, very grateful for you and for your patience with me as I messed up. Anyway, if you feel comfortable, please join hands so we can say our closing words. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.